No. Bone and stone. We find lots of bone and stone.
So he's using real things.
Oh yeah. I mean, he's not using real tools. He's using. Oh, I get what you're saying
That's
now.
what I'm
No,
asking.
these are modern. He's not using prehistoric tools. No, but he's using exact replicas of prehistoric tools.
Ok. Donc, la pointe, la base. On voit la surépaisseur ici, donc on va se débarrasser de ce volume.
He's going to try to remove this thickness now, that volume at the end. And you've probably noticed, and you probably wonder why he's tapping, but he's also scraping. Why is he scraping on the edge? You want a sharp edge, right? At the end? Well, in the end, you do. But another thing, you have to respect is, every time he removes a flake, he creates another very sharp edge. If he just, while he's still in the preparation phase, he's making flakes, if he just taps or hits, he's striking on that sharp edge, it's just going to crush because it's not strong enough to withstand the force. So when he's scraping and removing little flakes, he's strengthening the edge that he's going to hit.
Donc le silex, ça pousse très bien. Très très bon tranchant. Ok, maintenant, allez.
How sharp it is.
J'ai pris un percuteur dur un peu plus léger.
Now he's taking a lighter hard hammer because he's removing smaller flakes now. There's something to it. When he's moved to the soft hammers, it's because he wants flatter and wider flakes, and because they're softer, they're less dense. The force that goes into the flint when he taps it with the soft hammer, which he's going to do now, is going to diffuse the force and make a wider, flatter flake.
Percuteur tendre, ça me permet d'enlever des éclats longs et fins.
Yeah, that's what he just said. Long and thin flakes we can remove now with the soft hammer.
C'est bien gros, c'est bien galère, la totale.
This is a really difficult one. The humidity, like I said, the humidity gets into the soft hammers and makes it not like it usually is. But he always says all of this and then he finishes with
Where did he learn to?
here, doing it, experimenting and doing it himself. Yeah.
It's kind of a self.
There's like no school.
Je vais enlever ce volume ici.
Now he wants to remove that thickness there because remember he has to come to something like this that's symmetrical. Can't have any big bulbous thickness.
Neanderthal period. This is Neanderthal.
Yeah, this is Neanderthal. Although later in time people still made what we call bifacial tools.
Yeah.
The classic biface, actually invented by Homo erectus in Africa. He's strengthening the edge once again. He's not dulling it, he's strengthening. So he doesn't just crush it.
Donc là on va enlever cette partie.
Nice. That was a good one.
Wow.
What's your passé?
And I wasn't even watching when I said nice, that was a good one. I can hear it by the sound.
This is something that special people would do, and not everyone did this in the tribe, or everyone knew how to do it.
A biface, everyone could do it. Yeah, because remember that this was their way of life, so they had more time to learn how to do it than we do. From the time they were children, they learned how to do it. And I can make a biface not as well as he can, and I can't overcome all of the irregularities of the material that he has. But if I have a good piece of material, I can make a biface. So everyone probably does. But there are more specialized tools, like the blade he's going to make later. Those would have been people who were good at flint-making, but not people. I don't think that they were at the stage yet where certain people were supported by the rest of the community to do only one thing. Obviously, there were people who were better or worse at different activities, and so they would do mostly that. But that wasn't all they did. Everyone participated in it.
Wow.
Yeah. I can't do it as fast as you do. It would take me hours. And it's especially where you really get into high skill level is overcoming the irregularities in the raw material like you did.
Il faut absolument
People like
maintenant
me, someone like him would hand me a perfect flake and say, go for it. I couldn't start from the big.
que je me débarrasse de cette partie.
So do you think that they delegated?
There you go.
Yeah, probably.
Careful, it's hot. Ooh, sorry.
So it would be
Sharp.
men and women
Yeah.
doing this.
Men and women could do this.
Oh, very
possible.
good. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Hand-eye coordination.
Megan, what is the date of this Levallois?
This isn't Levallois. This is bifacial, and this was actually invented by Homo erectus in Africa
This is just
nearly
bifacial.
2 million years ago. Yeah. Levallois is when you make a core, which is going to do with the blade technique, but it's
And what's the date of that? When was that achieved?
Levallois begins around 300,000 years ago.
300.
Yeah, 250, 300,000. And it's the first that we know of, first what we call débitage, or flaking rather than shaping. We make two big distinctions. This is shaping because he has a piece of flint and he's like sculpting the material out of it. And the difference that we distinguish with flaking is on the other hand, it's the flakes that you remove that are your goal, and you're going to make your tools out of those flakes. And so flaking starts with Levallois.
Levallois is a kind of version of mass production in some way.
Yeah, it was a more economical use of raw material. That's one of its biggest characteristics. Yeah. And also, it's also a question of you can make more standardized shaped flakes. Because these are all different shapes and sizes, because that's not his goal. The Levallois technique can make more standardized shapes and sizes of flakes, which means that after when you retouch, which is the final phase, you have more control over the final shape of the tool you're going to make, which is important, especially if you want to make points for hunting and rounded shapes for scraping hides, etc.
Comme un malheur ne vient jamais seul, regarde,
Mais c'est joli!
c'est beau, hein?
Oh,
mais,
oui.
mais danger!
Yeah. Okay, so, yeah. Just when you think everything's going right, it's not really, because he found this crystallized inclusion in it, which is going to be really hard to nap, but I don't think you should remove it because it's really pretty. There's no crystals in there. Oh, okay, he's leaving it. Okay. Because actually, we find a few pieces where Neanderthals actually did leave things like that. Aesthetic sense. Yeah.
Signature.
Donc là, je suis en train d'affûter mon tranchant, de le redresser.
I might actually buy this one.
Et on va affûter la pointe en laissant l'inclusion.
Okay, he's going to sharpen it down, leaving the crystals. You rock the bomb.
Ouais, mets-moi la pression, Megan, vas-y.
I told him don't mess up.
How long would it take you to learn? How long did it take you to learn when you first started?
Ça a pris combien de temps pour apprendre?
Quelques années.
Yeah, a few years. But once again, that depends on the context that you're living in. This is not one of his main ways of making a living. But don't forget that they would have started when they're children. Mm-hmm. So by the time they're 16, 15, 16, they would have already known how to do this. So it's hard to measure how much, based on how much time it takes us today, how much it would have taken them.
You guys do mapping?
Imagine.
No.
Like we go to school and learn, what we learn in school, they learn this. Yeah.
There's a lot of blood involved when I nap. My napping drops.
But if you're just starting out like us, not knowing how to do it at all, it takes a long, like you said, a few years to as well as he does.
Alors, comment on va laisser, il y en a plusieurs. Il y en a une ici, cristallisation.
Génial.
Il y en a une ici. Donc on va pas trop insister dans ce secteur. Je vais reprendre cette partie. Je vais affûter ici, comme ça j'aurai ma symétrie bilatérale. Allez.
Kind of, he's going against his nature. He wants to make it symmetrical like a biface should, but I'm bothering him to leave all the crystals in, so it's going to be that edge alone, and it's going to be kind of asymmetrical.
The Japanese.
Why
This is going to be the mantelpiece biface.
do you know when you got started? Yeah. Is it curiosity or?
Qu'est-ce qui t'a inspiré d'apprendre à tailler?
Naître en vallée de la Vézère.
Yeah.
Moi je suis d'ici. C'est la préhistoire, c'est ma passion.
Same reason Isabel's still here after her great-grandfather. She's still here. Yeah, it's kind of a thing when you're born and raised here.
Donc, j'ai pris le temps. Il va aller mieux. Parce que quand même, vous l'avez constaté dès le départ, c'était pas gagné. Pourtant, ce silex, vraiment.
This is taking them longer than usual because it was really difficult. Because he has to leave those crystals.
Je disais sur une face anglais où il y a un fossile
Ouais.
plein centre et on a cette impression-là qu'ils ont façonné
Yeah.
par rapport à ce fossile.
Yeah, there's one very well-known biface found in England where there's a fossil just right in the middle of it. And it's obvious they started napping, this fossil was there, and they liked the way it looked, and so they just went perfectly all around it symmetrically. Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. And there's a lot of debate over whether the fact that these already early Neanderthals, the fact that they're so symmetric, there's even just disregarding fossils or inclusions that could be in it, or crystals. If just the biface itself being so symmetric, if there's not an aspect of an aesthetic sense in it, and therefore the first.
It just reminds me of preventive motorcycle maintenance. Like, what is quality? You know?
Or it's the origin of compulsiveness.
OCD.
Actually, except it's CDO.
Non, c'est à l'origine d'être maniaque.
C'est ça. Et il y a aussi quelque chose en français, on le dit, le mieux est l'ennemi du bien.
There's a proverb in France that says, "The best is the enemy of good." Yeah. Because he doesn't have to be. He doesn't have to be. Yeah, I'll talk to you about bifaces later in the trip. Where to function, to do the job that they were needed to do, they didn't have to be this beautiful. And sometimes they were. And there are some really ugly ones that we find archaeologically, and there's a lot of different explanations, theories to explain why there are really ugly ones and why there are really beautiful ones.